Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today I was planning on doing the Ford Escape Hybrid that's coming in a later video. However, today, because I was unable to get my hands on that, I have a special treat for you guys. So we're going to be taking a look at the brand new 2021 Ford Bronco. This particular one is the Big Bend edition, so that's going to give you things like 17-inch wheels, the 8-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support. You'll also get the GOAT modes that Ford makes with all of these. I'll show you some of that when we get more into the vehicle itself. So let me take you around this particular vehicle a little bit more. So starting on the front, you do have LED headlights, LED fog lights down on the front. You get 17-inch alloy wheels. This one's done up in the red color with the soft top. Some of the other cool features are on the front. You have these little tie-down hooks. So they all have the recovery hooks in the front. This one is the 4-door, also available in a 2-door. This one with the 2.3-liter EcoBoost engine. It makes 270 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. Mated to, in this case, the 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, Ford does say that you can use regular fuel in this, but you won't get the same level of horsepower out of it. You will be needing to put premium fuel in that to take advantage of the full power. One of the other cool things that you get with all Broncos is the fact that you can actually take all 4, in this case, doors off. So you can actually put them in their own little carrying cases and put them in the rear of the car. Some of the safety features that you'll get on this are pre-collision system, automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, which is really cool to see on a big off-roader like this. All of your sensors are down in the front bumper for that adaptive cruise control. All right, let's do a quick little walk around on the outside of the vehicle so you guys can see what that's all about. So the 4 doors configuration is pretty nice on this. I kind of like it. The 2-door looks a little small and weird to me. Looking at the front of the new Bronco, you get the big circular LED headlights with your LED turn signal right next to them. You get LED fog lights down the front. You get the sensors for the adaptive cruise control as well as your front tow recovery hooks. Moving around to the back of the vehicle, you get your full-size spare tire mounted right to the back, as well as your single exhaust pipe and your tow recovery hook right there in the back as well. This one, being a soft top, does have the little, or it's actually not that little, hydraulic opening door, which takes quite a bit to open. But when you do have it open, you've got a pretty good opening to put, whatever you really want. Like I've mentioned earlier in the video, this is large enough to put all 4 doors inside of. So, I mean, once you do that, you won't have any extra space, but it is big enough to go ahead and put all the doors inside. And this really isn't going to move very much. I mean, that's a pretty strong hydraulic hinge right there. On the inside, you do get 2 release points. So right there, and then you'll be able to fold the top up, and it will kind of, this whole rear section will fold forward, kind of like an accordion almost, and it'll go right over the bars in the back of the little roll cage area. But decent amount of space. It's not going to be the best for family hauling, everyone going on vacation type of thing, but for everyday general purpose stuff, that should be fine. But if you did want to tow with it, something that's kind of a mixed point for some is the towing capacity on this. So it doesn't matter which configuration you get, whether it's the 2.3-liter EcoBoost like in this one, or the larger 2.7 that's available, you still only get 3,500 pounds of towing, which is kind of weird. If you look at the Jeep Wrangler, those things can pull closer to 5,000 pounds. 4Runner, which I'm sure people will compare this to. I did a video on one of those recently, so go ahead and check that out. Try to leave it down below. Some people will care, some people won't, but it is something that I've heard quite a bit of, point of contention on from some. So I figured I'd at least put it in the video. Opening the rear doors, let's take a look at what people have for passenger space. So being that this one is a 4-door, you do get 3 seats in the back. They are not too terribly small, but they're not drastically big either. They are cloth in this particular model. They are very comfortable though, so that is something to keep in mind. Anyone who sits back here should have a pretty good experience, and they are able to recline back as well, so you're not going to be sitting perfectly straight up like you would in something like a Jeep Wrangler. But what's cool is because the doors come off, you don't have the window controls on the actual doors themselves. They do put them on the back of the center console here. In the back you have a USB Type-C as well as a regular USB for various types of charging. You do get these nice cutouts on the back of the seats as well, so if you are going to be having people back here, I am 6'1", and this chair is where I would sit. I can sit back here. It's a little bit tight, but having the little indent of the back seat pocket was really quite helpful, because otherwise it would be I wouldn't be able to sit back here if I was sitting behind myself. So if someone's a little bit taller, definitely not, but if someone's a little bit shorter, then you will have no problems whatsoever. But let's jump into the driver's side, because this is where you're going to be spending the vast majority of your time if you're actually considering one of these. All right, so now we are sitting in the cockpit of the new Ford Bronco. So this one was equipped with the really nice soft, it's real leather, and it's such a nice feel. Honestly, it's probably one of the nicest steering wheels I have ever really played with. Something that I actually really liked was all the buttons that are on the steering wheel are really, really easy to use. And they're also this really squishy, it's hard to show on camera, but they're all rubbery and very easy to use. I like the feel of these little buttons. They're kind of like a gel or like a membrane style keyboard almost. So they're not touch capacitive, they're not gloss black. So I think a lot of people will really like that. You get I think that's a 7-inch display behind the instrument cluster with your analog speedometer to the left. Moving down over here, you've got all of your headlight controls. Your parking brake is actually electronic in this, which I find kind of interesting. I don't know why, but I find that really interesting. Moving back over here, this is your 8-inch infotainment screen. It does have Sirius XM as well as Android Auto and Apple CarPlay compatibility, both wired and wireless. So let me go ahead and start the truck so you can see what that's all about. The little gauge cluster between on the dash gives you a pretty good amount of information. So you can toggle between your fuel economy, your engine RPM is digital. That's something that Ford's been doing a lot. You can see the distance to empty down there, how many miles are on this one. This particular one is actually a demo unit. You can see your fuel economy and a whole bunch of other stuff. And with the button on the steering wheel, you can actually toggle to see all kinds of different information. It's not the fastest or smoothest of animations, but it's actually it's pretty good. It gets the job done, and it's a very smooth transition between each of the different screens. One thing I noticed while playing with it, if you are going to be using some of the
off-road four-wheel drive settings, which are included with the GOAT mode. You've got your 4 high, 4 low, off-road cruise control right there in the middle, and then you've got this massive chunky dial, and it's like a brushed metal. It's not actually metal, it's plastic, but you've got a rubber ring that goes around the outside, and when you actually spin it, if you go into something like mud and ruts, look at that, it automatically shifts into four-wheel drive and brings up this screen so you can see that all of your wheels are engaged, as well as the pitch and roll of the vehicle. That's so freaking cool. And then to put it back into two-wheel drive, normal mode, and then you'll see it switch out of four-wheel drive and back into two-wheel drive. So you don't even have to use the buttons down here, which is really, really cool. You do have single zone climate control down here. You get the big 8-inch display. You can play with all kinds of different settings and valet mode, and see all the phones that are connected, and set up your CarPlay or Android Auto depending on what you prefer to do. So there's a good amount of features in this car. You do have also your trail turn assist, traction control, and your hazard lights. These are nice big squishy buttons as well. That's something that I've noticed quite a bit in this Bronco. It's all very utilitarian, but also, you know, I think it's pretty well made, believe it or not. People have been going nuts for these things, and I can kind of see why. The sun visors, they do have the little flip mirror. Some people will like it, some people won't use it. Then you've got the releases for the soft top, and this one is the soft top. So let's go ahead and take it out for a little spin, see what it's like to drive on the road. All right, we are pulling out of the dealership now, and well, first impressions. It's actually pretty nice, honestly. Decent pickup. You can tell that it's a small displacement, but when you put your foot down, that actually goes pretty good. And you can see on the display your boost, like how much boost you're making, which is kind of cool. It likes to be in very, very low gears, so I don't think there's any way for me to tell what gear I'm actually in, because I'm just in drive, but it feels like it's in 4th or 5th, because I'm going about 40 miles an hour and I'm only at 1400 RPM, so that's not bad. But let's take it for a little bit longer of a drive and get it out on the highway. So even just doing a little bit of back road driving, you can definitely hear the wind noise coming from the soft top. It's not like crazy, but you're certainly going to notice it while you're out and about. Brakes seem a little, not squishy, but they're kind of squishy. It's definitely shifting a lot. You can definitely tell that this is a 10-speed automatic. I've never actually driven a 10-speed automatic, so this is a first for me. Seems like it's, I mean, I'm driving in normal mode, so just like out of the box, this is how it's going to drive. And it seems like it's kind of hunting for gears a little bit. Nothing like terrible, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. Visibility is pretty good. It's definitely boxy. You can see the hood. You have a really nice upward driving position, which is a huge plus. The side mirrors and the controls are actually down in the middle area. Are more of those gel-like buttons, and I feel like the mirrors are a little bit tall. I feel like they should be a little bit wider, at least for on-road driving, from a personal standpoint. The driver's side one seems fine, even though it's the same size as the other one, but they're actually shaped a little bit different. I don't know why. Visibility out the rear window is okay. It's a little small, but usable. I feel like in a lot of modern cars, the visibility out the rear window really isn't all that great, but you know, it's fine. It's big enough where you can see the cars that are behind you, but I don't know that I would personally rely on it as my only means of backing up. But overall, really good visibility. The seats are really comfortable. Good lumbar support. There is a manual adjusting lumbar support on the middle part of the seat. So even though it's not a power seat on this trim level, you still get lumbar support, which I think is something that a lot of manufacturers overlook when they're doing these, you know, manual cloth seats. I think they're very comfortable. This thing loves to be in a low gear. And cruising around like I am on these back roads, it's okay, but it can be kind of annoying because you're just sitting here at like 1500 RPM, and if you just want to go a little bit, it downshifts like twice, goes up to 2400. The turbo kicks in, you can hear it and feel it, and then that's kind of it. It goes pretty good for a 2.3 liter. I mean, we're talking like a Camry size engine, maybe a little bit smaller, but I think it's adequate. We're gonna jump on the highway here in a couple minutes, so see you guys on the highway. So I know I said I would see you guys on the highway, but maybe I'm just not used to it with a soft top because I drive a Camaro, but this soft top is noisy. It's really noisy. You hear everyone's car. You hear your car, you hear all the wind, you hear the tires of other cars. I mean, I guess that's what you should expect with a soft top, but just something I noticed, so I figured I should bring it up. Brakes are definitely a little bit on the mushier side, at least for the first half. I think the second half of the brake is actually very linear, but it's that first part that's just kind of boring. Like, there's not much feedback from what I can tell for the first half the pedal. And there's maybe a little bit, but it's not a lot. Alright, so we're going to be going around kind of a long on-ramp. A little bit of a straightaway, and then just up here we'll have a bit harder of a turn. And 55 miles an hour, this thing is very noisy. It feels great. Like the comfort in the seats, the suspension feels really good. even taking this corner at almost 40 miles an hour, it doesn't really feel like it's going to be rolling, which is honestly a huge plus. So let's go ahead and foot down. Foot is floored. That's pretty damn good for a 2.3 liter four-cylinder engine in a car that weighs almost 5,000 pounds. But here's what it sounds like on the highway. I'm cruising at 65 miles an hour. It's a little windy out today, and I don't really feel that the crosswinds are all that degrading to the ride quality. It's really, really comfortable, which is something I was hoping would be the case. Like, I was hoping that it would be a really, really nice feel, and it is with these 17-inch. I want to say these are 33-inch tires. They're actually, it's a really nice ride. So next we're going to go through a traffic circle and see how the body roll feels. Just impressed with how well the power is delivered in this four-cylinder. It doesn't really feel like there's ever not power, but there is a little bit of a delay just because it's a turbocharged, smaller displacement motor. But I never really feel like it's not powerful enough. I would love to see what the larger 2.7 liter drives like, to kind of compare it to this, but this is really comfortable. Feels fairly forgiving.